All right, let's dive right in here. Obviously, playing minor chords in open E tuning or open D tuning, same thing intervallically, has always been a challenge, and we're going to address that today. We're going to start off with the relatively easy open minor chords, and there are 6 of them that don't require any slants and or string pulls or any other chicanery. So let's start off with the A minor. What we have is we're playing the first fret of the 3rd and 2nd strings, and then the open high string. So what we have is root, flat 3, 5. So that's a good one. Next we have B minor, and what we're doing here is we're going to go and grab our root on the 2nd string open, and we're going to play the flat 3 and the 5 at the 10th fret. Okay, so that one sounds pretty good. Okay, next we have a C sharp minor. For that one, we're going to play the flat 3rd on the high string and play the root and the 5 on strings 4 and 2 at the 9th fret. All right, then we have E minor. This one's pretty easy. We're going to grab the flat 3 and the 5 at the 3rd fret, along with the high string, which is going to be our root. Now, some of you might say, well, why not just play the B as the open string? I prefer this way because it lets me have more that I can apply vibrato to. But, whatever does it for you, whatever, mathematically works out is totally fine. All right, F minor. This one's kind of cool. I've always liked this one. We have the flat 3 as the G sharp, or in this case, A flat string. And we're going to play the 5 and the root. Now, of course, if you wanted to flesh it out, you could put that low F in there. I'm keeping almost all of these to just 3 note triads. But in this case, it's very easy to add that low octave. Now, if you have a bar, like a bullet bar or a bar with a curve at the end, which I usually don't. I usually use a Stevens bar. But in this case, my Stevens bar is kind of beat up, so I'm using this thing I just had laying around. You can get you can play the 5 and the root at the 1st fret without accidentally mashing down that major 3rd on the 3rd string. So we have this option or this option for the F minor chord. I think they both sound really cool. All right, next is G sharp minor or A flat minor. And for this one, we're going to grab 5 root at the 4th fret on strings 5 and 4. And then the minor 3rd is going to be the open B string. Okay, so those are your 6 chords that are available without, that are fairly easy to play. So again, A minor, B minor, C sharp minor, E minor, F minor, and G sharp minor. Okay. All right, now this is where it gets fun. Okay, so we're going to start off with the root being on top. Now, if I wanted to play an A minor chord, and what probably most of us do in this tuning, we would do a slant, playing the root on top on the high string at 5th fret, and then the flat 3rd on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Now, that sounds fine, but what we're missing here is the 5th. And I've seen some diagrams where they say you could just play like that. And I've noticed that a lot, where they have diagrams where they are physically impossible to do with a bar unless you have some weird, some bar that I've never seen before. So what we're going to do here, we have this. Now, once you have your outer notes, okay, which if you're new to this, I would definitely recommend just getting comfortable with those. See how I'm using my pinky here just to tune that 2nd string, to give it a microtonal string pull to make that chord in tune. So now I've got an A minor chord, a full A minor triad. If I wanted to do a B minor triad, I just move it up, D minor, E, back to A. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of holding that string pull as I move around. And certainly making little tiny adjustments as I go. This is definitely fairly difficult to do, but I found after really working at it for a while, I got so that I'm not like totally terrified, to do it on a gig like I used to be when I first started messing around with this stuff. So, all right, so those were our root 1 shapes, where the root was on the first string. Now let's move on to the root 2 shape. And this one does not involve a slant. It does involve a full step, whole step string pull. So for this one, what we do is we're going to play an A minor. We're going to go to the 8th fret where we have the C and the E, which are the flat 3 and the 5 of the chord. And we're going to pull the G, which is the flat 7, up a whole step to the root. And there's our A minor chord. Now you could do an inversion by plucking the high 3 strings, and that puts the flat 3 on top. So again, it's totally up to you. Part of the challenge here is seeing where the root is. In this case, it's kind of the root is not part of the shape, which is why we're doing the string pull. So, if I wanted to play a D, I have to eyeball that D and then go a whole step beneath it, and then do the pull up into that note. All right. So there's our root 2 shape. Let's go to root 3. Now this one, I can't stand this one because one thing I really don't like doing are reverse slants. I rarely do them. But in this case, let's say we wanted to play an E minor. All right, so what we're doing is we have the root on the 3rd string. So we play the root on the 3rd string and the 5 on top, which gives us this note is just shy of being the flat 3rd. So again, we're going to help it out a little bit. You can hear me kind of pulling it into tune. So there's my E minor. If I want a G minor or an A minor, back to an E minor. Well, let's go up. Let's see. That's an A minor. How about a D minor? Again, for these, on that opening video, I threw one in, and the whole time I was thinking, crap, I'm going to have to do this over again because I'm probably going to blow it because I'm really not good at them. And just like, the advice I gave earlier for people that are not, have never done string pulls, you talked about just getting the outer shapes, that applies to myself here as well. So I need to practice just getting comfortable going, into that shape. So then I can apply the little bit of a string pull to the 2nd string. So again, we have back to E, B, and I pulled that string a little bit to get that minor 3rd. So there is a movable minor chord. And of course, all these are movable that we're doing other than the open string ones. Okay, so that one right there, you won't hurt my feelings if you say, the heck with that one. All right, root 4. This one is kind of it's based on the same premise. So let's say if I wanted to play a B minor chord. Well, here's my B major. All right, so if I was playing the 5 and the 3 and wanted to play a minor, here's another one of these freaking reverse slants. That without doing this stuff we're talking about, that's really the closest you get to playing a minor chord in open E, unless you have an open string that's available. So, that used to suffice. And I'm speaking for myself here. I'm sure other people have figured this stuff out along the way. So, again, you can hear that it sounds terrible when I add the 4th string because it's the root, but it's flat. So I'm just going to do an adjustment there, and now I've got a full minor chord. Now, this one really isn't too bad. It's that 4th string is kind of heavy, but it's just a little bit of a pull there. So there's my B minor. If I go to an E minor, F sharp minor, back to B minor. So that one, I find it's fairly easy to move around. I like this one a heck of a lot better than I like, this one. That's the B minor root 3, the previous one. And here's the B minor root 4. Okay, so that's not awful. Root 6. This one is the biggest pain of all of them. And this is a shape I use sometimes. Like if I'm doing like a 1, 2, 3 progression, A major, B minor, C sharp minor sometimes, or wanting to harmonize the A major scale. Okay, now if I add the fifth, when I go up to the minor, now I'm actually pulling the fifth string, a microtone, to compensate for the fact that, when you line up these two notes, this one's going to end up, because it's a straight line, it's going to end up flat. So I'm making that adjustment. Just, that's the overall premise here. Here's my D major, C sharp minor, B minor, and A. This one I just started messing around with like about 15 minutes before I started making the video. So I was kind of making sure I had all my bases covered, and yeah. So this one is going to take me a minute to get used to that. All right, cool. So that's the root 6. So this is I think that's pretty much everything. Now the opening little jam I did there, I was going through what was the chord progression? It seems like a long time ago. A minor, E minor, C major, D minor. Okay. What I would suggest doing is just coming up with a simple chord progression, maybe something like, for instance, like a 1-5. So let's say I want to do like F minor to C major, kind of C7. Okay, so I've got now I'm going to introduce that one. There's my F minor because it's very close to the C major. So strategically, that's a pretty good choice, right? Another one that I really like is doing, here's another chord I'll throw in for free that a bunch of you probably already know. So if we're in C, if we go up here, that's kind of like our dominant, right? We've got the 5 and the flat 7. With a string pull on the high string, I can add a major third on top. And then go to my 1 minor. So here's 5, 1. Let me do that a little better. And that sounds kind of cool. Then I've got my C up here. Oh God, that was terrible. But I do like this one here, the fact that I can go. So here's my 5. There's my minor. That's going back to the kind of, that there is no, that's just the root in the flat 3. So there's nothing saying that you have to do these, there's nothing saying you have to do anything, right? But these 3-note chords, my philosophy is I'll grab them sometime when I feel like they're readily available. I like the sound if I just want to play an F minor chord, just kind of doing that, or doing the same thing without the string pull down here. That still sounds good. So 1 minor, 5. I could even reinforce that with the flat third on the 5th string to flesh it out a little bit. But sometimes that's kind of a cool sound, right? So I'm doing this, which I'm really not that good at. But then, like, doing that little string pull. Well, I need to go ice my pinky down now after doing all that stuff on this freaking long scale Frypan guitar here. Cool. Hope this was of some help, and I'll catch you next time.